So, oh, that's right. I have my regular glasses on. Taking them off carefully because they're brand new and they fit well. And now I've got my computer glasses on. So, good morning. Good morning. I was a minute late. I bought a new bra, and then, because I couldn't find one, and then suddenly my other one appeared. So silly. And, okay, so I'm trying a new thing. I will share with you. Here we go. Mother of Three Pearls and Heather and Terry. Nice to see you. So this may be not visible to you, but I tried to bump up. Hey, Cat Mama, nice to see you. I tried to bump up where my phone is, not only for, actually I realized it and probably my new bra are working on my posture, but also I realized that when I tell people about Destination Decluttered, I'm a decluttering life coach, and I talk about things like when I'm doing a road trip, that when I'm pointing to this stuff behind me, my hair and my head is often blocking the heart representing your destination and the car representing the journey. I was also just making sure that I put my hair, my shirt on front ways. All right. Good morning, Mars. Nice to see you. I'm going to shift gears in here. I'm going to try not to digress as much today. We'll see how that works out. I am here to help you with clutter. I honestly, until yesterday, this TikTok live was not planned. Those of you who looked at my TikTok schedule at Destination Decluttered, those of you on the mailing list who know how to access that, you may not have seen this up until yesterday, but then I said, you know what? I know I'm traveling. I leave for the airport in like an hour and a little smidge. Kate Kager, nice to see you. However, I got some time this morning, and why not do a TikTok live on November 1st, first of the month? Yeah, and actually, see, Natalie says it wasn't on the list, and honestly, it wasn't. It was on the list. Yes, it wasn't on the list until yesterday, but here's how I roll, you guys. I love a good process, a good system, a good structure, but I love flexibility within that structure, kind of like I like my bras. I like some structure, but I like some flexibility. I am not a corset gal. I used to be an underwire gal, like not Jane Mansfield, what was her name? Jane, whatever, from that movie with the guy. I'm an old person. It lifts and separates 18 hours. Jane Mansfield. Maybe it was Jane Mansfield. I don't know. Anyhow. Yeah. So I am heading to Boulder, Colorado. I'm heading to Boulder, Colorado, because my nephew is in school there, and my husband and I are taking him out to dinner at a place called Casa Bonita. I guess it's one of those, if you know, you know. But yeah, Michelle is saying Happy November, everybody. So happy November, everyone, too. So I thought that I would stop in, do a TikTok live, get you set up. Okay, I love it. Evolution Lifestyle says, oh my God, that's my favorite place. We're only there for a very short time, but as I like to say about life and travel, we're going to make the most of it. We are going to make the most of our time there. This is a life lesson. This is a decluttering lesson. Deciding what you're going to put into your trip and deciding what you don't want in your trip. We have decluttered our travel schedule. Do I want to go to a pickleball tournament? I just totally made that up. No, I don't want. Do I want to go see if there's like a record store or a bookstore or a place to get a cup of tea or a cocktail or something tasty to eat? Hell yeah. So I make time in my schedule for that. It's the same with decluttering, if you think about it. You make space in your home for the things you want. And if you're listening to me, probably at the moment, you have some stuff in your house that you've made space for that you don't want, but you're struggling to get rid of. I'm thinking, Now K-Pop Drama Lab says, I went to start clearing my indoor storage unit and found a dead bug. I'm mad I didn't think of spraying regularly. What I want to offer is don't beat yourself up. Everybody, do not beat yourself up about what you didn't do in the past or what you did do in the past. Do not beat yourself up about you in the past. Love your past self. Every iteration of you. From the little baby that popped out of your mom, to the one in swaddling clothes, to that little wacky kid who was learning how to walk, to the kid who's wearing those really garish, like, plaid pants from the 70s with a pullover over it, to your awkward teens, to your awkward 20s, to your awkward 30s. Love all of y'alls, okay? Every last bit of who you are. Look back. Don't look back in anger. Look back in love. Love yourself for who you are now, and love yourself for who you used to be. You know, K-pop says, I finished clearing one unit. This is the second one. This has my grandma's table on it. Okay, so learn from this. So everybody, K-pop Drama Love learned something that she may be able to use in the future, but maybe not. But like, seriously, if you haven't been in your storages in a while, check for bugs, check for mice, check for critters. You know, maybe your thing that you didn't do well is going to help somebody else. You know? Robin said, loved your reels on cleaning out your spices. Really helped me out and inspired me. Thank you. Yeah, I will share with you guys. I haven't done any kind of decluttering around my house videos in about a week. About a week. Because I am running out of stuff to declutter. You know, I could go over and over again. I do have some, so I will do that. But the neat thing is how I decluttered our spices, you can use that same process. Notice I talked about process earlier. You can use that same process and apply it to anything else. You know? There you go. I love it. Kat Roby is always putting on what she calls her Beth blinders on. What does this mean? It means it's kind of a lovely Pavlov's dog thing. And trust me, I don't know who's the dog in this scenario. If it's me, I'm fine. Or I may be the kibble. I'm not sure. But Kat Roby sees I'm doing a TikTok live and says, aha, I know Beth usually does these for about an hour, which I do. And in that hour, I'm going to put on my Beth blinders. And it means I'm going to focus on decluttering something while Destination Decluttered Beth is hanging out with me, you know, keeping me company. So Kat is saying they're going to clearing out the email. Now, I love that because a lot of what you can declutter with somebody else around you is surface area stuff. Start with your surface. Surface area stuff is the clutter that doesn't really require much thought. And you can do that while you're also listening to somebody else. You know, if you've ever been on the phone with somebody and you're listening to them, like, yep, but you're also like doing the dishes. So you could, seriously, wherever you are, you might be able to declutter something of the surface area kind, you know? And after that, you've got stored clutter and surface and sentimental clutter. Those ones are the most helpful when you're listening to yourself, not listening to somebody else. But while I'm chatting along with you and drinking my tea, yeah, I will endeavor to keep you company and make it fun and while you're getting it done. Okay? So Robin says, and true point, the spices are things that you have to do every once in a while. There are many things in your home. Decluttering is not a one and done. It is good morning, Kristen. Decluttering is not a one and done, but it is something you need to revisit some things, on occasion when you notice it or if you want to schedule it. Now, I will say this. I schedule a lot of things, but a certain amount of too much structure gets me like don't fence me in. So I'm not regimented about it. I will be like, oh, hey, and the cool thing is now, because I did a TikTok video thing about my spices in October of 2024, maybe what I'll do, here, I'll do it right now. So October, so 6 months from October is like April, right? So I'll give myself 6 months, and this is what I'm going to do, and I'll share this with you. It is a constant process, but the thing is the more you do it, the quicker it becomes. So you're not doing that big kind of purge. Now my computer, I got to get a new computer. It's kind of slow here. But what I'm doing right now, I will share with you guys, is I am taking care of future me. I am taking care of me. Let me see, November, December, January, February, March, April. Okay, April 1st, April Fool's Day. I also need to cancel my subscription to the Philly Inquirer. I didn't even know we had one. I'll just say spices. Okay? So on my computer, in about 6 months from now, I'll see something that says, oh, just check on your spices. Now, we did a big declutter, so now everything should be within dates, but it can't hurt to just take 2 seconds. Check all the dates, make sure that, things maybe wipe down a little. I share this with you because I share this with you because I also am the beneficiary of past me doing the same thing. So today, November 1st, I don't know when I did this. I did this at some point last year during the holiday season around Christmas. And what I did was I wrote a note to myself for the next holiday season. And because I use a digital calendar, I popped that onto like November 1st of this year. So I woke up this morning and I saw this thing, reminders for Christmas from 2023. So it was like me in the past talking to future me. It was me today. I said, the smell of Christmas tree candles from Aunt Sadie's. Yep. And the sound of Christmas is Charlie Brown Christmas. Those two things, I love those things about Christmas. So make sure I know where my Charlie Brown Christmas record is and make sure I have an Aunt Sadie's candle. I'm pretty sure I do because I bought one last year. 2024, make cards from the old Lang Syne artwork I made in 2023. Order all new orange bulbs from Two Tone for candles in the windows and start to replace the C9s on the patios and give away my white tree. Now, these are things that I insights that I got, and I can use those to now make my holiday season a little bit better. Yeah. And so notice that, and do the things that are going to help you live an easier life. Now, me, it always starts with decluttering because, as I mentioned, my name is Beth. I'm a decluttering life coach, and my coaching is called Destination Decluttered. Why Destination Decluttered? And this is why I have my phone stacked up on a yoga mat or a yoga block. It's because life is a highway. Life is a highway, but I like to think of life as a road trip, and decluttering is a road trip. You are here at the beginning of a journey today. The journey of the next 12, 18 hours, the journey of this weekend, this month, your whole life. When you have a destination that you're aiming for, that you're kind of focused on, and you're excited about it, you will do things to get there that you may not do if you're not so excited about your destination. It's really been a game changer for me, Yes, of course, Kristen, you would love that because we are Gen Xers. Yes, I am a total Gen Xer. You're going to hear me burst into song quite often. So be prepared. Are you ready to get for? Be prepared. Now that's a commercial because this is what my brain is filled with. My brain is lovingly cluttered with pop culture references from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and beyond. Oh my God, you guys, speaking of, I'm totally digressing. Like I'm totally taking a detour. After yesterday's TikTok Live, which, that reminds me, I'm gonna make the October ones public now for the people not on the mailing list, and then the November ones will go private. If you want to get on the mailing list, destinationDecluttered.com/join. But yesterday I was talking about when you give the microphone, when you hand the mic over to like your backseat driver and they're all complaining versus your co-pilot, and I was riffing on Mr. Microphone. Hey, pretty baby, we'll be back to pick you up later. I'm on the radio. I love it. My friends and I say this to this day. It's something we heard a handful of times in 1978 on the TV, the Mr. Microphone by Ronco. And what was I doing yesterday? Because I thought it would be funny to use that as a business expense. I was online looking for a Mr. Microphone on Ronco. I did find one. It was already sold, but now my husband is going to be on the lookout for one. So I like to have fun. What can I say? Having fun while getting it done makes the time go by more enjoyably, much like a road trip, much like a trip. My husband and I are leaving on a trip today. We have destination Boulder, Colorado. We have destination checking into a nice hotel. We have destination seeing my nephew. We have destination going to dinner tonight at a pizza place we have a reservation for, and destination Casa Bonita tomorrow. All of those things are exciting us, so we are doing things we haven't done before. My husband, or not before, but that we normally might not. My husband usually doesn't get up early, so he's up a little early. He's going to get some stuff done before we leave. We're also going to enjoy the journey to get to Boulder by leaving in enough time to take our time. Take your time, do it right. You can do it. Take your time, do it right. But taking your time is the most important. It's your time. Move forward at a pace that feels good to you. Now, I even said to my husband, we were going to leave at like 11, and I'm like, my nervous system is going to feel better if we leave around 10:30. Even if that means we're chilling out in the airport, I don't want to be stressed out on the way to the airport and afraid that I'm going to miss my plane. Notice how the pace, when you start something, can activate your nervous system. Okay? So I am a living, breathing example of living the process I teach you with decluttering in the real world. So you start here, you enjoy the journey, and then you get to your destination decluttered. Now, to me, destination decluttered can be really simple. You want your home to look good to you. You want it easy to live in because you're going to be easy to find the stuff you want to use, easy to use your stuff you found, and easy to put it away because it has a home. You know? Yeah, and Kristen, notice, so you're leaving in a little over an hour and you're not running around packing, you're doing a live. You know why? Because I'm decluttered. Because my clothing was clean. I knew where my suitcase was. My little zip bag with all my toiletries in it is already packed, and I just had to fill up like my mouthwash and my hair goop. My clothing was clean. I threw a few, underpants and, things, and I checked, and they have a pool there. I put my thing in, boom, I'm done. And I thought, okay. And I'm not stressed about it. Yeah. And yeah, Abbott Elementary, see, this is the thing. Now, so we have TSA pre. So, but Abbott Elementary says, my husband nearly missed his flight because TSA was backed up. Leaving early allows you to factor in the unknowns of life. Now we are driving so I live outside of Philadelphia, PA. We are driving down to the Philly airport. Depending upon what time we leave, there's traffic. We usually earmark a certain amount of time, but the sooner you start, the sooner you're not going to be freaking out that you're not there yet. Now, specifically for our trip, we need to get there. The plane will leave. The good thing about your destination declutter is your destination is something that you have defined, and you have defined when you want to get there. You know? Yeah, and I really am, Kristen. Maybe this is great that I showed up just saying, I don't know, I'm done. I'm just waiting. All I got to do is put on my shoes and maybe a little mascara and find my sweater. Actually, I know where my sweater is. It's hanging in the closet, as opposed to being dumped on the bed or on the bureau or something. Decluttering makes your life easier. So I was talking about it. Decluttering isn't just how it looks. My house looks nice. I love how my house looks. It brings me joy when I walk into different rooms and I'm surrounded by stuff I love, in the right amount of stuff I love, in that kind of, what do you call it? Goldilocks, not too little, not too much, but just right. It looks nice to me, and so it makes it easy. Last night, you guys, seriously, I am a living, breathing example of this. We had trick-or-treaters last night. So we had to open up our front door. Now, did I stress out about people gooping in and looking because they're curious what our living room looks like? No, because it was clean. But then we had friends unexpectedly show up pretending to be trick-or-treaters. So we easily opened the door and invited them in. And we sat down, they had a drink, we ate our frozen pizza. And it was not stressful at all to open the door and invite in unexpected guests. We had a lovely time. We weren't freaking out because the place was a mess. Previously, years ago, we would have freaked out. We would have been trying to hide things and been like, no, shoving things. Literally, this room used to be the pitch and ditch room, the room that we would throw things in and shut the door when we had people over. Yeah. And exactly, it's like you move forward at a pace that feels right to you. I like to cruise along. That's what a road trip is. I'm not a trucker on the highway trying to get from point A to point B in the quickest way possible and feeling miserable because I don't have enough sleep and I gotta pee and I'm on trucker speed because I'm afraid I'm gonna lose my job if I don't get there. I am cruising along on a side road. I am listening to music. I am stopping at the cool place that sells that, food that you can only get when you're in, I don't know. I would say like Lancaster County, but I don't like Scrapple, but like a soft pretzel. Or I'm out near, Pittsburgh and I eat something from Pittsburgh. Enjoying the journey through life means you have joy in your life every day. And this is how I coach. People know this. My clients know, Now I love this. Okie teacher. How do you clean surface clutter when there's nowhere to put it? You found the next layer. Yeah, you found the next layer. The next layer down from surface is stored. Now you're going to hear that I tend to make things easy to remember. Surface, stored, sentimental, head, heart, hand, So yes, and isn't it funny? Kristen says, get rid of the surface clutter if there's nowhere to put it. What you've discovered is now you have a problem, or you're where you need to focus some decluttering is in your storage. Here's another way to remember stored clutter. It's the stuff behind doors and in drawers. Stored, drawers, doors. They all rhyme. So what you're going to notice is pick an item. So let's say there's something, not everything on your surface is there because you don't have room. Maybe it is, I don't know. When I work with my one-on-one clients, that's when I get to the particulars. But let's say you have some food in on your counter that you just bought at the grocery store and you don't have a place for it. This is where I would get curious. Now, I did this with my spices. I would look at what is taking up that valuable real estate that is my storage. And I would say, is this all stuff I'm using or not? And it's not just all of it. You have to go through piece by piece. When's the last time we used Bisquick? Are we really going to eat that canned chicken? I don't think I want that eel in spicy brown sauce. Ugh. And my husband's like, ooh, I like that. So, okay, we keep it, So notice that there is an imbalance, and it becomes a math problem, actually. Remember those math problems? Like if you had 16 square feet of this, how many X's and Y's and parabolas could you put into it? It becomes a math problem. There's a finite amount of items that you can fit in a shelf in your drawer, in your, like kitchen. What are you going to put in there? I highly recommend just checking in to see what's there that's taking up that valuable space. And here it is. Decluttering is decision making. I love it. Ruthie says, are you looking at my counters? Yes, I'm psychic. I'm psychic. No, I'm looking at my own pretend counters back in the day. Decluttering is decision making. You decided to keep items in your one shelf of your cabinet. You decided to buy it back in the day. You decided to use it or not use it. You decided to maybe use it for a time, but then you're like, I'm not really using this anymore. You decided to keep it so long, maybe it's out of date. You also decided to go to the store and buy other food that now you don't have space for. Notice all the decisions, okay? And it's all cool, you guys. We're all in this together. I do not come here to shame you. I do not clutter shame you, and I don't declutter shame you. Shame has nothing to do with what we're here, nor does perfection, nor does judgment, okay? If you want any of that stuff, there's plenty of that on the internet. No. We're talking about helping things feel better, look better, function better, not perfectly, better, and helping you learn a skill. Yeah. So Mars is saying, so what is an effective thought process for making those decisions? I will give you that. Now, here's a funny thing. It can be the very high level, simple version is, what is this thing? You answer that. This is a can of canned chicken. Do I want it or not? Well, first of all, if it was a food thing, even if I want it, I would check the expiration date if I haven't used it. If it is expired, it would be easier for me to do something else with it. But then I ask myself, and here's the decision, do I want it or not? That one line is the question you're going to be asking yourself with every single item in your home. Do I want this in my home, in my life? And then you know what you do, Mars? You listen for your answer. Now, you may not be used to listening to yourself. You may be used to ignoring yourself because maybe all you hear is negative self-talk. This is where I like to have some fun with this because I like to pretend I'm in a car. As I said, road trip. I'm the driver, but I am influenced by my passengers. I bet you are too. Okay, Mars, I don't know is a mulligan. I don't know is a throwaway thing. Feel free to say that, but no, it doesn't count. And then I would ask you, but what if you did know? And don't be overwhelmed with all of it. Pick one item. One item. Okay, Mars, pick an item. Do I want this or not? And if you're having a hard time answering that, that's okay. Your decision maker is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger you get because you begin to know what you want and what you don't want. Now, there will be some gray area, or I like to say yellow area, because think about this. Think about your decision making, and your body it helps you with these decisions. Your body is the thing that speaks, but usually that's your brain is speaking with the words, but your body is also chiming in on what you want or not. I can tell when I'm coaching by the tone of somebody's voice. by the look on their face, whether they're pulling back or they're hunching over or doing this. Your body is sending you messages all the time. I like to play this game, red light, green light, just like when you're driving. No, but I flip it upside down. So I say your green light is in your heart. You look at an item in your house, like the Bionic Man. You look at it. I'm always looking at this lampshade, so I'm going to look at something else. Okay, looking at that thing. Do I want that or not? What is that? What is it? Oh, it's a little, Pee Wee Herman sitting on the shelf. Do I, that reminds me of good times. I love Pee Wee Herman. He makes me laugh. I'm sad that he died. Do I want that? Yeah, I do. Okay, where does he go? He sits right up there. I look at something else. What is this? Oh, this is a crumpled tissue. Oh yeah, I think I just blew my nose on that. Do I want to keep this? No, it's kind of gross. So instead of a green light like Pee Wee, it's a red light. Ugh, don't want that. No, stop. So I will throw this in the trash. You know some of your green lights and red lights already. Those are the things that you are saying. Your gut is being like, your heart is saying yay, or your gut is saying blurg. And then you've, of course, because you're human, you're going to have the yellow light. Now, the yellow light is just like when you're driving. And this is when you're driving in the Clash or in the car. Should I stay or should I go? Now, this is when you have to dive a little bit deeper. Okay? Excuse me. So it is a thought process. It is a decision-making process. That's why they call it those things. It is a few steps. So this is why you can't rush through this at a certain point. Once you've gotten all the surface clutter back where it belongs, you'll put it up where it belongs. In the cupboard and stuff. Yeah, then you're going to have to listen to yourself. That's why I said at the beginning of this TikTok Live, and it's crazy that it's already been 27 minutes. My name is Beth. I'm a decluttering life coach. My coaching is called Destination Decluttered because I talk about it like a road trip all the time. I do these TikTok Lives often. I have an email mailing list. If you want to hop on that, it's free. DestinationDecluttered.com/join. And I also do paid one-on-one coaching with one-on-one clients via Zoom. If you're interested in that, you can find out about it on my website as well. Okay? Now, I love this because Robin says, I have some difficult sentimental stuff to get rid of today, but I have gone through it and it's okay. And thank you, Robin, because Robin says, thank you for helping me get there. Yeah, you're welcome, hon. And I'm proud of you for going through the most difficult, yet not impossible, as you notice, the most difficult, challenging, feeling-producing layer of clutter, which is sentimental. We started with surface. What did I just do? I took a tissue, I threw it in the trash. Then we opened up a cabinet. We talked about stored clutter. But yeah, there's sentimental clutter. Now, everything in your house tells you a story. And sentimental clutter are the things that you save because of the stories. Good morning, Oceanana. Nice to see you. Yeah. And so Mars, notice, I can't get through this stuff for sure. Are you sure about that? You sure about that? You sure about that? Remember when that was a thing at TikTok for like a minute? Okay, the sentimental items are a complete roadblock. Okay. And I think, does RN stand for right now? Anybody? I'm not hip to the lingo. I just think of everybody as a registered nurse. But yeah, sentimental items, don't be surprised. Mars, absolutely nothing is wrong with you struggling. Okay, thank you. Right now. Thank you. Now I'm hip to the lingo with all the kids. Thank you, Ruthie, as well. Okay, cool. So sentimental items are the ones that trip us up the most because they are the ones that are jam-packed with the most feeling. They may not even have any practical, useful use in our house except for being the repository, being the visual trigger to an emotional story. Now, I say an emotional story, but I mean, it could be a good emotion. You have that snow globe that reminds you of that wonderful trip you went to. And so you save it. It doesn't really help your house function well. It's not like knives and forks and spoons and all. But it's something you save because of the memory in your head and your heart that when you look at it, these are activated. And sentimental, when I talk about when I talk about a road trip, sentimental is the stuff that is going to have you driving the slowest. It's like going through a school, what do you call that? Like a school zone when school's getting out. You're going to have to drive 15 miles an hour. And you're going to be feeling feelings as you're slowly going through them. That is okay. I truly believe, because I've been coaching for quite a while now, when I do these TikTok lives and I talk about clutter a wicked lot. Yeah. Now, Mako BVP Pie says, sorry, I mangled that. I can clean the whole house, but my room is beyond chaos. You know why? Because you have to listen to yourself in that room. You know your stories. And you know what? You probably have. Yeah. Should we put the sentimental items off to the side and go to the other stuff? I say yeah. Not permanently, but I say temporarily. And I say it this way, okay? Because think of decluttering like flexing, learning a skill and flexing a muscle. You don't go into the why and immediately go to the heaviest thing, the most difficult thing, and start there. No, you start with the little kind of plastic weights that remind me of like Gloria Stevens back in the 70s, these little 2-pound weights. When you get used to that and you realize, oh, this isn't that bad, I'm not hurting that bad, then maybe you do something else. You pick up a heavier weight and then you practice with that for a while. But as you do that, you're building your muscle. You can do it, as well as voting. Okay, you can do it. Notice I'm holding my bingo wings right here. Learning how to declutter at all, starting with the surface clutter, gets you into knowing where you need to work on stuff, where you need to then make decisions about where things are stored or not. But so start with the easy stuff. Start in the shallow end when you're swimming. Then swim to the medium end, and then you're going to feel more comfortable and more I know what I'm doing in the deep end. But don't start in the deep end if you don't know how to swim. Okay? Yeah. And Scrap and Cat is the same thing. You can easily declutter other people's stuff like nobody's business. You know why? Because you cannot hear the frequency. You cannot hear the stories that their things are telling them. To you, it's just a mug. To you, it's just a pen. To you, it's just a t-shirt. To you, it's just something. To them, their stuff tells them stories like you tell yours. Your stuff tells you stories. Yeah. And, and so notice how our brains can trip us up. Now, this is when I'd like to introduce you to, take a look behind me, will you? I'm in the driver's seat. Guess who's in the back seat? I got a backseat driver. You know that's like a thing about somebody telling you where you want to go, that you're doing it wrong, that you need to drive better. I admit, I can be a real life backseat driver and I have to watch it. I confess to you. Mea culpa. But we all have a backseat driver, and you know this when you're stuck. Your backseat driver says, no, you can't do it. Don't, bad, stop, stuck, guilt, shame, fear, all that unhappy stuff comes from the back seat. That's somebody telling you, no, you can't do it. But if you dare to stop and turn around and look at your backseat driver, you know what you're going to find? You're going to find that your backseat driver is a scared little toddler that's strapped in their car seat. And they are just afraid of anything that's going to change what they know already, even if the change could be good. Now, the good news is you're not alone in the car with your backseat driver, because you have somebody right up in the front seat next to you in the passenger seat. You've got your co-pilot. I am the passenger, and no, I am not Iggy Pop or Susie from Susie and the Banshees. I am not the passenger, but I'm the co-pilot. I am the opposite of the backseat driver. I'm like, you got this. Where do you want to go? I can help you get there. This is going to be fun. Let's do it. You can do that. That's not that bad. I can help you. I know you can do this. You've done hard stuff before, but you can do this. Notice the difference you feel already when you hear me talking like a co-pilot. You got this. You guys, you can do this. This is just stuff that has gotten into your house in some way. You may not have had the strength or ability or know-how to declutter it prior to this. You didn't know that there was a process. Sorry, there's a bug in I got a snake in my boot. Now I'm showing you a process. Now, after today, you're going to know, oh, I'm not alone. There's a lot of people. We got over 100 people right here on just some random TikTok that some people knew was going to happen today. It's people on the mailing list, Kristen says, when starting with surface clutter, peel out the obvious trash. It doesn't take much mental energy. Yeah, it's increasing levels of mental energy, that get you to that. So Let me see what else we got here. Yeah, and of course, Holly Stack says sometimes it's stuff of someone who has died and it's hard. I completely get that. 100%. I am on your side with that. So I say, and I talk to, this is a double whammy, and I can feel myself choking up about it because I am feeling my human feelings. Because this is the thing right now, what I'm doing right now is something many people who go through clutter are afraid to feel. They're afraid to feel their emotions. They're afraid to feel the disappointment. They look at the clothes that they don't fit in anymore. They're afraid to feel the sadness of the stuff that was owned by somebody who's dead. And that person's never coming back in the physical world. Yesterday, I had a double whammy. I went to a memorial service for my neighbor, and while I was there, I ran into somebody I used to work with, who I remember helping her when her husband died. Guys, he didn't even make it to 50. It was heartbreaking. She was saying to me, yeah, there's this one box of stuff of Rob's that I still, I can't get rid of. And I was like, nobody tells you, you don't have to. You don't have to. But there's other stuff. I will just share with you that there's other clutter in your house that is so much easier to do something with and practice making decision making before you get to that core of really tough stuff. And even decluttering your surfaces is going to make your life easier. When you declutter your surfaces, then you have a surface to dump out some of the stored items, because you need a surface to spread out something when you're stored. I did it with my spices. I needed a space to spread it out because all compact, you don't know. And it's part of the process that it's going to look temporarily worse before permanently better, or more permanently better, because nothing's permanent, kind of like nothing is perfect, So yeah, and Robin is saying, and I agree, give yourself all the time, love, and grace you need to get there in your own time. Yeah. And it's not a race, and you're not competing with anybody, and the only timetable you need to move forward with is your own timetable. When you ease up off of the pressure you're giving yourself and beating yourself up because it's still cluttered and I really should get through this, that just makes it more hard. So let's make it easy and simple and fun. Start with your surface clutter. You guys, right now, it's 9:38. I'll be here for another 22 minutes. You could do something so you hear me, like, put me on a stand, carry me around in your pocket, turn me on a speaker. You can still hear me without watching the screen. You could put down the ducky if you want to hear the saxophone. You could still hear me, and you could walk around one room of your house and declutter some surface clutter. Now, stored clutter, not so much if you want to hear me at the same time. Because when you start to listen to yourself, you can't listen to two voices at once. It's kind of like when your co-pilot is talking, your backseat driver is required to shut the fuck up, right? When you listen to yourself, you would tune me out. That's fine. I would love it if you started to listen to yourself, because you have the answers in you. The only answers that matters are the ones that come with you. I don't know what your stuff is. That's why I don't do any decluttering coaching in people's houses. To me, it's just stuff. I can go through it and I can categorize it for you, but you can do that. You don't want to pay me the big bucks for me to categorize it. But then the decision making is all for you. And the cool thing is if you're not used to making decisions to say, what do I want? What do I want? Do I want this thing in my life? Well, let's start practicing. The only way you get good at something is practicing it, and practice with the simple stuff. And you'll notice even those simple things can make your life easier. Was it O Cedar makes your life easier? There we go. Now Pretty Patty has got an issue with food, buying canned goods and non-perishables. It's just me, when my son always lectures me. Okay, Patty, you have a story in your head about food, about the lack of food, about the feeling that lack gives you. Nobody wants that feeling. The feeling of hunger, the feeling of scarcity, the feeling of not knowing where your next meal comes from. Nobody deserves that. Nobody wants that. So look what you're trying to do. Your backseat driver is like, I never want to be without food again. Buy it. Hold on to it. Maybe it's too much, but maybe the too much right now makes me feel safe. Ever seen hoarders? Yeah, sometimes being surrounded by stuff gives you a sense of safety if you have felt hunger before. Now, I rented a place once, and I've been cold in my life because not a lot of money, keeping the heat low. And I literally have blankets all around and sweaters to put on because I don't like feeling cold. So I know I have my own things that I probably have too many of. I would rather feel a little bit warm than a little bit cold. So, yeah. So just know that we all have our stories that reveal to us where our roadblocks are. You're not alone with that. Now, Erica says, what's your advice with decluttering with deadlines you can't control? Depending upon what the deadline is, you've got to pace yourself to hit that goal. If you're moving out of a place, for example, you got to get out of there. So sometimes what you need to do is if you do not have the luxury of decluttering at your own pace, you need to pick up the pace, and you need to make some bigger decisions, some bigger blocks. You could even just chunk it down into categories. There's certain things, but know that if you want to hit that, sometimes you do have to sacrifice it. But then next time, let's say you're putting away stuff, then when you're moved to where you are, take your time unpacking. Take your time deciding then, do I want this in my new living space? Even if it was something I liked back then, do I want that now? I'm going through a sea change with a lot of stuff in my house because I used to be all into everything that I didn't even know I had this collection until I realized, because I was writing about U.S. road trips, that I had U.S. maps all over the place. Now I notice it, and I'm more easily to declutter that I have enough map type things. Okay, so Michelle, that is always my struggle, is the temporarily looking worse. It's part of the process. Every time you make a meal, there's a part of that process where stuff looks worse before it looks permanently better. I like to think of making Toll House cookies because I'm from Massachusetts, and I like to show off that Toll House cookies were invented in Massachusetts, in Whitman at the Toll House. Can't remember the lady's name. Okay? But notice this. It's part of the process. However, I will say this, that how long is your temporary? How long is your temporary before it becomes permanent? Okay? There we go. Kat Roby, would put on her decluttering blinders, and in 12 minutes, she went from 295 emails to 34 emails, junk and thinking emails for later. Now she's off to do, there we go. I love it. Kat, you're cracking me up. Beth Blinder, shift to the laundry. I've got my cape on. Woo! Yeah. Be your own superhero. You can stand there with your cape on and be like, look at this life I created. Look at this clean surface that I made happen. You can do it. You can do it. There are plenty of things. This is not rocket science. This is not brain surgery. This is not a lot of really difficult things that I don't know how to do. But this is pretty simple, you guys. And I can teach you this, and I can walk you through it. That's what I'm doing right now for free on this TikTok Live. Paying attention to how you think. Notice when you think, I don't know, you don't go looking for the answers because you've told yourself a statement, I don't know. So I ask a question. I'm like curiosity personified. What if you did know? I don't know. Where could it go? Where's a place you think it might make sense to you to put your scissors? Because where you put your scissors and when I put my scissors might be two different places. Your house, your rules. Put the things away in your home that in a place that makes sense to you, that's easy to get to, the things you use most often. There's a lot of functionality. I'd love to get into the functionality about setting up your home to function well for you, to make life easy. Notice how, as somebody said, it's 9:44. In about maybe a half hour, 45 minutes max, I'm heading out. We're going to drive to the airport. We're going to get on an airplane. I'm already packed. I'm not stressed out. I used to be stressed out and freaked out. I can't even deal with that kind of stress anymore. So I start really early. Whenever I feel it, I kind of eliminate it right then. It's kind of like the maintenance of clutter. If that's going to bug me, I'm just going to do it. I'm not going to wait till it builds. Kind of like clutter. I'm not going to wait till it builds. I'm going to start small, and keep it done. Okay, so DB Nana, I love it. I get a lot of crafters. I have a lot of crafters who show up on my TikTok lives and who are my one-on-one clients. So DB Nana says, I'm a crafter and have lots of different things that I need while I'm crafting. Awesome. Cool. Ain't nothing wrong with that. However, so that isn't, to me, that's not a clutter problem. What you might have is you might have a storage problem, that you don't have storage for your things. Maybe you don't have a space to spread out and do your crafts. And maybe you don't have a storage space for your things because And here's the deal. Please, you guys, never start with buying more storage. Start with at least a cursory? Yeah, I guess that's it. Overview and a primary declutter, so you know what you're dealing with. Because oftentimes what you find is that you have stuff, like you may have some craft items that you haven't even used. You may have craft items that go to a craft that you're not so psyched about doing that anymore. Maybe you were at some point, you were like, this is going to be great. I'm kind of done with that. I've made enough, pot holders or whatever, So knowing what you have and what you want to keep helps you determine what kind of storage you need to house the items you've already made a decision that you want to keep, If you go, here's the thing, I see it in a lot of people, so I just share this with you. Buying the storage boxes and containers is part of the process, but it comes after the declutter. Okay? Now, I know this because 3 years ago, my aging mother finally allowed me to help her declutter. And she has such an F-ton of storage things that are now down in her basement because I emptied them out and I gave her some kind of emotional nervous system safety by saying, don't worry, I'm not chucking these right now. I'm not donating these right now. They are down here if you need them. But sometimes, honest to God, having more storage makes it more difficult. Yeah. Now, Sia says, and it's totally lack thinking, but I might want to later. Okay, if you might want to. Kimberly gifted me roses. Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to thank the Academy and all the little people. And you like me. You really, really like me. Thank you very much. I don't know a lot about what those gifts are, but I nice that. So thank you. 23 roses. My goodness. I don't pay attention a lot. I apologize. I feel like I should explain. I don't know a lot about how the gifting works on TikTok. I don't like to hawk that. So I see those things and it's nice, and I probably should have been polite and said thank you for the gift, but I don't kind of know how that works. But thank you. And Fiery Angel, thank you for reminding me that Kimberly gifted me roses. So thank you for the roses. And where was I? I was talking about storage containers. Sometimes having too many containers gives you too many options of where to put things. When you're making a decision, look at me right now. I could be case in point right here. Where am I going to put this thing? I have 25 places I could put it here. If I had a shelf that only had 10 slots, I would only have to decide on 10 things. Yeah. So go through and declutter first and then decide what and if you want to keep it and how you want to store it. Yeah, Wendy M says, I didn't want to get a storage unit because I thought it would be hidden clutter, and it is. Now, notice the temporariness of some things. Now, the thing that cracks me up is I see this where I live. There's a store that used to be Kmart that we used to go and buy things and then bring them home and put them in our houses. Now, as a society, you can tell the clutter's a problem because I don't know about where you live, but so many storage unit places are popping up. The Kmart near me is now like a Cube Smart. I see them popping up all over the place. And you know what? Somebody is making big bucks on your fear of making decisions. Somebody is becoming a billionaire because many of us are afraid to make decisions about stuff. Now, I would lie if I say I don't make money off of decluttering people, but I show you a skill and it's temporary. Again, temporary versus permanent. Now, sometimes you do need to store things if you're between lives. I spent about a year with a lot of my stuff in storage because of a job that I had, that I was living in kind of transitional housing with roommates, and I couldn't fit my couch in there. When the storage becomes permanent, then you get fearful of what's in there, and sometimes it feels easier to just send that monthly check. But think of how much money, if you pay for storage, think of how much money your clutter is costing you, Yeah. So notice this and just ask yourself, how is my clutter affecting me And because it's not just about how your house looks, it's about how you feel. It's about your social life. It's about the time you make for the things that are important to you. It's about the money you spend or don't spend. It's about the things, about the quality of life. Your quality of life is impacted by clutter. I know this because it's one of the questions, a series of standard questions I ask all of my potential clients when we do a free consult to see if they, we're a good fit for coaching. So just think of, it's not just how it looks, but how is my clutter affecting my quality of life? Now, I love this. Nursey Nita says, I had 8 pairs of black dress shoes, 20 plus years old. Okay, so you know what freaks me out? That was 20 years ago, was 2004. I'm thinking it was the 80s, but I lose decades like nobody's business. She says, got rid of 8, but one pair, no more. Yeah, my feet are probably a different shape than they were in 2004. My life is a different shape. Shoes are a different shape. Your life will change as you age. So the things that worked for you 20 years ago may not work for you now, and that's okay. Yeah. And the things that you own up end up owning you. Yeah, people are afraid to open their doors, afraid to invite people in. They're afraid to spend time doing the things they love because they have a backseat driver saying, you shouldn't go out and have fun because you should stay and clean your room. Your backseat driver is like a little bossy, little like parent, Okay, so Kimberly, I love this. I just counted how many decluttering books that I have. 35, and I'm still trying to declutter. Kimberly, yeah, here's one of the many reasons why people say, you should write a book. No. I will do so much before I add to your physical clutter because I have helped my mother declutter. And I cannot tell you how many decluttering books I found in her things and duplicates. You guys, it's another way of how your clutter costs you money. You forget you own something or you can't find it, so you buy a duplicate. I know, exactly, Robin. 20 years ago wasn't 1980. In my life it is, because I'm forever young. Okay? Yeah. Yeah, afraid to let the super in to make needed repairs. Yeah. So, I had a friend who swears that she has bought no less than, 4 George Foreman grills. This is why I'll be honest with you. I love my one-on-one coaching, and I charge money for it. But I feel good about it. I feel good about you spending your money temporarily with me with coaching, whether that's one 10 session pack, another 10 session pack. It's kind of like, I was thinking about the other day, it's like buying eggs minus 2. Because it's a temporary investment to learn a skill you currently don't have. It's not like this ongoing thing that unless you're coaching with me, like you'll be cluttered unless you coach with me. It's nothing like that. You and I work together. I teach you a skill, and it's like instead of being in a room with 133 people and waiting your turn, this is why I have yet to do any kind of group coaching, though I have done some group, what do you call it? What did we do, you guys? The party last month, and I'm going to do another one for the people on the mailing list. But you get me for an entire hour once a week for 10 weeks in a row, and then if you like it again, I have people on their first pack, their second, their third, their fourth, their fifth, and their sixth. I love doing this because notice, you will show up differently for something you spend money on than you do something that's free. That's why you struggle with decluttering something you spent money on, especially a lot of money. But you know what? To me, sometimes when you spend money on something that you want, you will show up. Think of college. People spend a lot of money. You better get your money's worth. Versus a lot of that stuff you could show, you could watch videos on the internet, but you're like, yeah, I'll do that later. But if you're paying for coaching, you will step up, So I just say this because we make a lot of decisions in our heads and our hearts, and money is one of them. Thank you. Yes, it was a decluttering party with a group of body doubles. Exactly. Thank you, DFW Suburban Mom. And I'm going to do, as I said, I'm going to do another one of those for people on the mailing list in November. I was thinking of sending out an email today, but I'll be honest, I haven't quite figured out the right day to do that works with my schedule. So I'm going to think about that maybe when I'm at the airport eating my lunch in the Amex lounge, And I will send one out next week because I also don't want to clutter up your email box. So I'm very mindful and demure about the quality and quantity of emails I send. I send very few emails, but the ones that I have are of good quality because there's always something good in it for you. You know? Yeah. And Eleanor, you're not alone. I mean, look, it's a random Friday at 9:56 in the morning here in PA. We've got over 100 people here. So many people think they're alone with clutter. No, this is a generational and societal thing. We are all products of the worlds we grow up in, and we are a product of people who grew up in the Depression of the 30s, in World War II, and the lack, and then the abundance of the baby boom and the post-war abundance. And then now we have, all these easy ways that we can hit a button. Excuse me. We can hit a button and have something, whizzed to our house before the end of the day. We live in an ever-changing world. In this ever-changing world in which we live in, if it makes you give up and sigh, I say declutter. Live and let die. Boom, boom, boom. I say just declutter though, okay? So, and thank you, Rochelle. Your emails are one of the few I actually read. I love it. Yeah, Ruthie, that's a lot of us. Older parents struggling with lack. Then they get the abundance and they think, oh, I've been told all my life I should make a lot of money and buy a lot of things. Making money to buy the things, having the money to buy the things is going to make me happy. These things are going to make me happy. Then they realize the things don't make you happy. And if anything, you guys, you notice how having too many things is not making you happy. It's the opposite. But somebody in the meantime made a lot of money from our parents that convinced them to buy a lot of this stuff that doesn't matter. We, however, even if you're not Gen X, you're Gen X when you hang with me, we are the generation that are changing that. Because we know that life is so much more about, not about the stuff. There's so much more important than the stuff. I know that was poorly worded. If I was writing a book, I would edit that. But there's so many more important things in life than stuff. Now, we need a certain amount of stuff to live and to survive and to thrive and to enjoy, but it's that too much that's clutter. Clutter isn't the right amount for you. I got it. You guys, I swear it's just an error. I just got a notification that somebody's dad passed. See, we are of a generation. The older generation is dropping, and we are the next generation. And don't we want to make the world different from what we're coming from? We will not go back, okay? We will not go back. So notice, we are all in this together. You are not alone if you're struggling with clutter. I used to be cluttered. I found a way to get to destination decluttered. It took me a long time. I don't want it to take you as long as it took me to get there. I now know the shortcuts. I know the fastest route. But I also don't go on the highway and say, buckle down, buckle down, buckle down, buckle down. Screw that. I want you to enjoy it because every day of your life is something you should have some joy in. Yeah, Oceanana says, buying something you think will make you happy only lasts for a moment in time. Yeah, you know what I'm going to do? You know what lasts? Or not, you know what's important? Is spending time with the people you love. Hugging the people that you have in your life. I'm hugging you all because we are all experiencing loss in one way, shape, or form. Even the fact that we have lost now any of this past, okay? So the texts are flooding in. This is our core group of folks. I'm sending you all good vibes for the weekend. I'm going to go hug my husband and embrace what's really important, which is making the most of our time we have. Yeah, hug all your people, okay? And look around and say, this stuff that I got at Target, this doesn't matter. What matters is feeling connected and feeling your heart. And I show up to remind you of that, okay? Damn it, Donna, I will enjoy my weekend, okay? And it's so good to get this way. Yeah, and thank you guys. Thank you for the virtual hugs. I will pass them on to Jay and our neighbor. And you know what? Death reminds us to embrace life, okay? And on that happy note, inspirational note, I'm going to go hug my husband, put my shoes on, go to the airport, hug my nephew, have a good time, and create wonderful memories, and probably not buy a lot of stuff, okay? I'll see you when I see you next time. If you want to know when I'm doing a TikTok live, sign up on my mailing list, destinationdecluttered.com, okay? I'll see you when I